Recording. Yes, it is. Thank you very much. Welcome to the first meeting of the new fiscal year. The meeting called to order at 7:01 p.m. We are recording. We have a roll call.
Okay, all the select boards here heard Childress, Carl Haynes, Sean Ruff, Isaac Yackel, myself, town clerk Patty Kenyon, Jenny Duffy, Juniak, I'm treasurer, Lister chair Sally Aki, Meredith Morgan auditor, Bill Reed road foreman, and from the public, Robert. Yeah. Is that everyone? Nobody on Zoom?
Nobody on
Other than
Zoom,
her?
just me. Thank you very much. Are there any additions to or deletions from the agenda? Crystal is here. Crystal, hi. All right, very good. Are there any additions to or deletions from the agenda as it was prepared?
You didn't ever do that.
Okay, hearing none, let's move on to the minutes of our most recent regular meeting from June 26th. They had a chance
There
to
was a small note I sent around, just a little more info from Jenny. Does anybody else have anything else? Otherwise, I'll put that in and send it to Patty.
Good. I'd make a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
Second that.
Thank you. Any further commentary? All those in favor? Aye. Very good. Public comment. Robert?
Nothing new, I guess. I apologize, I've been away for several weeks. The speed has not stopped, of course. Another thing, I'm looking at the four corners here, and the paint is all wore off. So that just tells us the amount of traffic that is going through that intersection. Bill and I looked at that paint earlier this spring, and it was a little more off, but now the crosswalk is gone. So a lot of traffic.
I believe, don't they usually redo the crosswalk shortly before school starts?
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're doing anything else, actually, Bill might know.
They have been doing some crosswalks and stuff like that up Bayview, but I kind of thought maybe they were holding off on this until they decided that they were gonna grind this.
Hopefully they'll do it.
Do you think they're still making decisions at this point, or are they committed for their
They
season?
were out here the other day and Jim was out and he's pretty disgusted. He said they've got the money to do it. They were planning on doing it.
Okay.
Pavement price is best price right now that they've seen in a while. So he wasn't, I don't think he had high anticipation that it was gonna get done, but he hasn't given up on it yet. So he's, because he was here when we talked about doing that with the drainage and everything. And he was kind of concerned with how rough it is from where they were gonna leave off down here back into town. So I think he's still trying to push it.
Okay. And that was sort of that between Buxton and Coy Hill, was that end where they were thinking of going to?
No, right this side of Buxton.
Yeah, just north of
this
Buxton,
side.
up to Four Corners or to Gary or something, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully they do it. Hopefully they do it. And we have a new addition, if anybody doesn't know, Joe Hunter, just attended the meeting.
And you've made it a perfect moment because we are doing public comment.
So the only reason I'm here is I saw a bunch of cars and I thought there was trouble, so I came to offer support.
You were supposed to bring the
Appreciate it.
Yeah, so it doesn't look like there's any trouble.
Not yet. I mean, you only just got here.
So no, I'm gonna leave now. I really did thought that was gonna be something.
Thank you.
You bet, it could be something good.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you for all you guys do. And Bill, thank you for your service. I know we don't get it enough, but You guys do a great job.
Thank you.
We'll see you.
Thank you.
There you go.
All right. Very good.
On his comments there.
Yeah.
The speed limit signs, I looked into, Amazon had some on sale this week, the solar ones
Oh, really?
for less than 1,500, the stationary ones.
Wow.
So
Huh.
I had talked to Brian Tarbell about putting one down there below his house,
Mhm.
and he is agreeable to it.
Okay.
But as far as the state roads, I don't think we have any jurisdiction,
Mhm.
but I don't know that it's something that couldn't be looked at, but.
Yeah.
I just gave Robert some information that I got this week on the solar speed limit,
Mhm.
flashing signs. It also records the speeds and stuff, and it tells you when you're going too fast. It's on a pole. He's got a picture there if anyone wants to see it.
There's quite a variety,
Yeah, there certainly are.
2.5 pages or so that I looked at different prices, but I think Amazon sale, it was 8% off this week or something.
Well, it's Prime sales, you
Yeah.
have Amazon Prime, and if you don't have Amazon Prime, you pay regular price.
But,
We do have an Amazon account,
so,
the town does. So we're tax exempt, but we don't have Prime, which costs $15 a month or $20 a month, or whatever it is.
so that is, and somebody had the hoses across the new pavement up toward the town line. And there was another set down South Street, I want to say down by the golf course, down closer to the town line down there.
Okay.
But I don't know if it's AOT,
Who's the agency? Yeah.
who's gonna get the report for it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But it was out there for a week or
Right by
two.
my house.
Yeah,
One
up
in the
that
corner.
up that upper end there. And then there was another set down south, so.
I'll flip around and see if I can find it.
Somebody, you know,
Yeah.
in the future will have another set of
Right.
of
Or
data
David, yeah.
on
Cool.
traffic and speed.
At $1,500 a piece, that's a real bargain. because
Yeah,
the prices
sure
that
is.
I've been receiving average around 35 to 4,000.
Mhm.
But I don't know I don't know if it's just the speed that flashes, because some of them are the speed that comes up. Some of them tells you to slow down if you're exceeding the speed limit, and some of them has the memory and all
Right,
that
to
too.
do the data collection. Yeah.
So I looked at.
Okay. If you can send me a link to that page, I'll see what more I can find out about it.
For the, I mean, if you just look up the solar powered radar signs.
Okay.
Cool.
Good.
Okay.
3 pages of them or so.
Yeah, I'd say it probably just makes sense to drill down a little bit to see
Yeah, find out what the specs are.
what else they may give you.
Okay.
And also, we do have an extra sign for 35, because as we all know, we're in violation. We need a 35 here in the village, so the one up by Meredith's and Paul's, that really should be changed to 35 from 40.
But I didn't know if that information there is something that might be covered with grant money or something under the regional transportation or what. The contact person probably should touch base anyway. See if there's something there.
Is that a V-Trans project? V-Trans fund? Or,
No, they're,
I don't know who I would call.
yeah, the information's right there with that.
It's on the,
I came out of Salem yesterday, came up through South Street and Wells and the Pollitt end, and they have one there that's pretty much sitting on a tire, and somebody stole the sign, just the 2 wires are hanging there, so. What the-
Robert?
I promise I'll put it up Tuesday.
put it right at the end of your driveway.
I'll bring it back.
All right. Very good. All right, let's roll on to town officers' reports. Who'd like to go first?
Go ahead, Sally.
Okay, well, Jenny and I are here coordinating with her before she takes over on the tax rate. This is the time that we present to the select board to make the option whether or not we charge a penalty for late homestead declarations. Right now, we have no one that filed late.
Good.
Which is very good. However, it has come to my attention, there is an individual in town that did file late, and they're quite concerned about it because they had filed for an income tax extension. And we always kind of, make it file your homestead when you file your income tax. And they were under the assumption that meant that when you got an extension on the income tax, you got an extension on the homestead declaration. I think if we get anyone else, especially right now, that the extension tax deadline has come, there may be other people with that same understanding, and I think it has happened in the past. And usually we present or charge a penalty if we feel that someone is trying to take advantage of the system, and I don't think that's the case this year.
And in particular, because the homestead rate is quite a bit lower than the non-homestead rate. Typically, if it's the other way around or if they're close, people will try to finagle the system.
Right.
But I can't see people taking advantage of this. It's too big of it.
In most recent years, we have applied the penalty, is that correct?
That's correct. We did not apply the penalty during the COVID years, saying everything was just way too confused. When that was over, we started applying the penalty again, but I think Jenny's right. There was some question that maybe the non-homestead rates were gonna be lower, so we said it did look like the possibility that people could be trying to play the game. That's certainly not the case now. If the board decides to establish the penalty, Jenny has also learned from a webinar she just attended that there would be the possibility also of eliminating the penalty on an individual basis.
Okay.
So we could also do that. So for this one individual that we know is concerned and we know did not intend to do anything wrong. The other thing that we've talked about is the treasurer and the listers do try to get information out in the spring, encouraging people, and we feel we could just address that issue in the spring, saying, for just what I said, we encourage you to do it at the same time as the taxes, so you get it done, but they are not tied together. An extension of one does not apply to the other. So I think our recommendation, well, as I said, if we decide not to do the penalty, that covers everybody. If you do decide to still levy a penalty, I think I would ask that possibly the listers and treasurers together would have the authority to override that for an individual case.
What is the penalty?
I think what the difference right now would be, is it
It's the
It's-
low penalty is 3%, or it can go up to 8%.
Yes.
You said.
By how late it is?
I think that's anywhere
Or we
between
said two,
3
anywhere
and 8.
between. So we have to determine the penalty every year?
It resets every year, yes.
Okay.
And I think, again, because of the situation with the homestead versus non-homestead rates.
And there is just that one person or one
There
individual.
was just the one person that I'm aware of.
I mean, and if we think it was an honest mistake and we would likely waive the penalty anyway, then.
Well, and again, even if there's other people that had that same misunderstanding, it actually would hurt them not to have been doing that sooner. So it's not anybody gaming the system. It's not.
Exactly.
So.
So I think we have two motions on the table. One would be a motion to adopt penalty for late declaration. And I think last couple of years, that's been 5% is what we've said it, but I don't remember.
I think it was 3.
Was it 3?
Yeah.
All right. So I'll go ahead and make that motion that we reestablish the penalty for late filing of the homestead declaration at a 3% rate.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any further commentary?
Is there gonna be provisions for allowing people to,
I think that'll be the
The
second.
second.
Yeah, I want to have that as a separate motion to authorize possible waivers. Okay, all those in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Okay.
Yeah, we're voting this tomorrow.
So then the second motion would be allowing the town treasurer and listers to collectively exercise their judgment to waive that penalty in individual cases as they see fit.
Second that.
Thank you. Any further commentary there? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Good.
Thanks, Ted, so
Thank you.
we'll see you tomorrow morning.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Patty, do you have anything quick or, okay, let's do quick and then we'll
Well,
go
I
into
don't
the
know.
weeds.
Well, hopefully it's quick. 911 coordinator here. We need to authorize a new private road. So the road, the property that went to the Zorn property, right? So there were 2 houses on there, so it didn't have a road. It was just, they had an address of 652 South Street and 656 South Street off of their right of way. They're, the Chersian property that's also attached to that right of way changed hands. And those folks are building a cabin up there and have a driveway and wanted 911 number. So because there's three accesses, then that triggers you need to create a road.
Okay.
So, the residents have agreed to a road name of 100 Acre Lane. And it's, the 100 is spelled out, not the number. And that's what you all have to approve. The 911 board has approved that as a name, that it doesn't overlap with any names near us. For confusion for emergency services, and so the residents are patiently waiting for
And they're
100 acres spelled out.
100 Acre Lane.
Is it appropriately hyphenated or did they not put a hyphen?
And the lane meets the standards as a lane was to the right and drive to the left.
Correct, the
Yeah.
lane is to the right, that's why it's a lane.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's interesting.
Drives are on the left. Well, it's a town, that's a town
Town standard.
standard. Private roads,
That's
private
all
roads
they
are
go down the
lanes
road.
or drives and
Yeah, right.
it's from the center of town. So,
That's
yes, it can be confusing. I intend to assign not only those 3 parcels, but there is a barn that is also on that right of way that belongs to 656 South Street property, but it is before everyone else is on that road, and so I'm gonna assign that a number as well. from what Pat said when we went out our little jaunt, Bob Zorn actually lived in that barn for a while, so it has electricity and water and all the things that anybody could turn it into something, potentially. I don't know, so it's gonna get number 2. So I need your approval of that name as a private road.
So move.
I'll second.
Any further thoughts? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good, thank you.
Patty, when will that become effective? I'm thinking in terms of sending out tax bills.
For the, as soon as I can get it, so I'll try to update, it'll be next week.
Okay.
Whether everyone will get notified, it's a lot of notifying of people, it's a lot of notifying of other
The post office.
Agencies.
agencies,
Yeah.
and then, so. But the new people who just bought Sweeners, I don't know how to say their name, I encourage them not to establish their address as 656 South Street. So, and on their transfer return, the address was a West Rutland address, so that's okay. I mean, it'll get forwarded to wherever. Yeah.
Cool.
Whether it'll be right in time.
Thank you for managing that.
These new ones, are they laid out in thousands now
Yes, they're on the new standard.
instead of 200?
Yes, so there'll be, the barn will be 100. The new drive is 214, the 652 becomes 215, and 656 becomes 310.
What was the first one you said? I'm sorry.
The barn is gonna be 100, but that's also, the barn goes with 310.
Okay.
That's just part of their property.
All right. Thank you very much. Thanks for managing all of that.
Yes, thank you, Patty.
All right, the treasurer.
So we'll do 2 things with me tonight. One is just to talk about the end of the year 24-25, and then talk about the tax rate for 25-26. We only do this once a year, so if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask, because I always have to refresh my memory too once a year. The question is too stupid, so. I sent out a trial balance and a budget status report draft for the end of June. And in the one that you received, it shows where we moved all of the balances of the reserve budget items into the reserve funds. So, for example, the paving, the budget was $40,000. We didn't use any, so I moved $40,000 into that fund. The way you can tell on the numbers report is anything that has an R in parentheses next to it, that's a reserve fund. So I moved everything where it needed to go to, and you'll see
Which, that's the trial balance, okay.
in the board orders, you'll see some board orders to move the funds from the general budget to the budget for municipal facilities, capital improvement, and other. So that's what those are. The year ended fine. We have actually money left over. Just to talk through our town budget, we had more revenue than what the budget was. And for the highway, we had less revenue than what the budget was. Expenditures, in both cases, we spent less, only about 12,000 less in the town, and part of that was because we had some items in the budget that didn't have a budget in it. So for example, that LMHP
Oh, right.
grant, that was like, what did we spend, 11,000 or so? We
Yeah.
had no budget item for that. Things like that. The revenue, back to the revenue, why that was higher is part of it was because we had some good interest on our bank checking account over the budget. And you can look at the details and see where that happened. And the highway, we talked about that last meeting, why we didn't spend as much of the budget as we had planned. And so in any case, so we had money left from that, and our taxes, even though the regular principal taxes for 24-25 came in about $38,000 less than what the budget was, we had that offset, and I think we discussed this a couple weeks ago too, by the delinquent taxes. So there's always the shortfall at the end of the current year that gets picked up in the following year as delinquent taxes. So any questions so far on that, or any questions on line items in the budget?
I had a question on the other property tax rate, $1.03.
$1. Oh, that was a,
I don't want to spend a lot of time on it.
Yeah,
It's just-
no, it was probably just in the wrong place, or
Okay.
I looked it up and I don't remember because it was so small and we
Yeah,
went on to the next thing. So what I did is I put that $1.03 into delinquent taxes when I did our final calculations. But good that you noticed that.
It was a weird one. That's
Yeah, it was. So the next thing I sent to you was a recap on an Excel form of what the actual expenses and revenue were for the town and the highway. So there's a column for the town, there's a column for the highway. And the gross expenses are at the top. There's $532,000 for the town, $466,000 for the highway. The revenue was, I have it listed down by town and highway, the different categories. Oh, so anyway, so the idea is to make the actual expenses equal the actual revenue, no matter what the budget is. And so there's a box, a yellow box at the top in expenses where I put in some numbers to make that happen. So in the town, for example, we had about $30,106 excess money. So just according to what the voters chose, the first $5,000 goes into tax stabilization, and the balance goes into our municipal facility surplus fund.
Right.
So that makes, adding that in makes the expenses and the revenues zero out for the town. And for the highway, we had $78,251 excess that will make, if we put that into highway surplus, which we will, that's the way it goes with the highway.
Right.
Everything zeroes out to zero.
Good.
So pretty straightforward. Questions on that?
No.
No. So that's how it ended. So it's good that we don't have to use any tax stabilization money for, well, not yet, but for budget next year. But,
So in the next section down on the revenue, there are two highlighted cells there. What's the
that's
nature
the
of
highlights for me are, it's just an Excel geek thing, is when you have to input something by hand. You put it in, and then there's a calculation.
Right.
So I knew that the total delinquent tax number, which we can find on our report here, it's the 34,000 plus 13,000 plus 3,800 plus $1. I know that totals $51,575.67. So I put that total in there, and delinquent tax gets divided between the town and highway. And the current use total was $60,912. That gets divided equally between town and highway. So I just have a formula that feeds off of the yellow that I input.
Okay, good. A good year.
Okay?
Great.
Okay, so now,
Thank you for
that's it for that.
shepherding all of that for us.
Yeah,
We
it's
appreciate it.
kind of tedious work, but it is what it is.
Trade.
We have so many reserve accounts, and that's
Right.
Mary. Really? Yeah, I wish I had known you were gonna be here over the next one. Right, tax rate. Look at the, let's look at this page first.
Yeah.
Portrait. The tax rate is based on, it's a calculation based on the budget that the town approved and the grand list. So the top section is the town, the next section is the highway, and then the bottom is the grand total. So for the town, I input the budget that the town voted on that they would like to raise. It's in our warning, $344,771. And then on top of that, under allocations, I add the allocations that were voted on in the warning, and they totaled $126,845. So for the town, in order to fund this total of $471,616, we need, so there's, right next to the 471,616 is the grand list, that the most recent grand list number that listers gave me, 914,411. The automatic calculation that calculates out to, hang on a second. So it's the total that we need to raise divided by the grand list. It comes to 0.515759 for the tax rate for the town. The number to the right of that in the shaded box is a number that I input, kind of rounding it a little bit. So we can play around with that if you want. But for now, I put in 0.5159, and that gives us the raised amount of money. So when I put in that number, it gives us how much will be raised to cover the total that we need to be raised. Same thing, highway, the budget to be raised based on the warning, 426,055. Apply that to the grand list number, and the automatic calculation comes out to 0.465934, and I just rounded it to 0.4661. Why I rounded a little is to make it, in this case, I'd like to have a time where it says over on each of the rows in town and highway. That means that's how much money based on the inputted rate that I put in will be over our budget a little. You want to have a little bit of a cushion. In the past, we've had more and we haven't really needed it. And I don't necessarily think that we need it for this coming year. And in any case, it would only be like at the most $2,000. I don't think that would make or break on our budget. So my thought process was to keep the tax rate as low as we could make it, but cover our expenses. So the total tax rate that this particular projection comes up with is 0.9820. If you look to the right, there's a last year column because I'd like to compare that. The town tax rate would be up 1.4% over last year. That makes sense to me. because the fire department stipend went up, the rescue squad went up quite a bit. We had a lot of increases, even though the select board was good about keeping the other things down. I think where you kind of had a flat budget, but when you add in these extra things after the regular budget, there's an increase. Highway kept it flat at 0.2%. And then the total is only up 0.8%. So that seems palatable. Just to go to this sheet, it's just a sheet that I keep track of since I became treasurer, and I had information of the town and highway budgets year by year. And then later on, I started adding homestead and non-homestead education rates, so that probably at some point I should put a total, because the rate that we would adopt in 25-26, you would add the combination of the town highway, which in this case is 0.982, and if you lived in town, you'd add 1.5421, and so that would bring our total tax rate for homestead people to 2.5241 versus last year was 2.4504. So it's up, and it's up because our education rate for homestead went up. It was lower than normal last year, and you might be able to talk to that better if it's necessary, Meredith, but, and then the non-homestead is way up, so just. So I guess I would ask the select board to discuss if they think that these projected tax rates you're comfortable with, or I can just fill in the numbers and say what if you want the tax rate to be a different number.
So I have a question, which is not a challenge at all, but I'm just curious on your rounding. The last digit, the 10,000ths in every rate, is one higher than the rounding would suggest.
But you know why? Because I was finagling it to get to a tax rate of 0.9820, and
Three-digit number.
And I wanted the overage, actually this is probably more of it, the overage in the town and the highway to be about the same.
Okay.
If I rounded it differently, so if I did 0.51,
5158.
58, that overage for the town will only be $37.
Right.
So I wanted
But
to get up a
the other
little
one
higher.
also, rounding it would be 4660.
And that would only be $60 anyway. So I wanted them to be a little higher, and I wanted it to be kind of balanced.
Got it.
But we
And
can
it
do
gives
whatever
us, it
serves.
gives us a three-digit number at the end, which is nice.
Yeah,
Gives us
well, and that's what I like
slightly
that too.
rounded
So,
number.
but we can, whatever pleases the board is fine with me.
The homestead and non-homestead percentages were done the same way with the school board, right? Is that how
They
that's
were
done?
done differently this time, and I learned that in my grand list seminar last weekend. I don't have my notes in front of me, but they were something about common level appraisal divided by a new number that they've not done before, and it was different. It was more complicated, I think.
But that's
Are you still on the
something-
school board?
Yes,
Yeah.
but I can't tell you, I don't.
Yeah, like I listened to it and it made sense.
Well, yeah,
I
when
guess they're trying to make everything fair, but who knows if it really is.
Yeah, they definitely adjusted the numbers this year
Mhm.
to make things look better than they were.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure, it's gonna really crush us next year.
Yeah, right. I read an article in the Herald the other day about, I think it was tax rates in Rutland County,
Oh,
and most of them, or the majority of them, had a lower education rate. Our Wells Springs had a higher one, Middletown Springs especially, 4.5%. Right,
ours is
yeah.
gonna go up substantially.
Even
with
more.
the transfer.
Middletown Springs.
Yeah, with the transformation, yeah. If it goes, but part of it is because they put the money in, the government put money in, and to lower the tax rate artificially. Which means next year will be good.
So I think the select board has done a really good job with the budget for next year to keep it at this level. But yeah, it's just kind of, we're always battling for the total with the education rate. So.
Okay, any other questions?
Make sense?
How, I guess, how, you could talk about the delinquent taxes and like that it gets just rolled over into this year's or the next.
Yeah, just like every single year. So we have a budget of $890,000, let's say for last year for the taxes. Coming into the year, or into this year, that 33,000 or whatever it was in delinquent taxes that you see, most of that was from the year before, and that was a shortfall of the regular taxes. So that happens every year. So we always.
You just know that it happens and it just gets rolled in.
Yeah.
And they're like, and that's, so they're just delinquent because people forgot to pay them and they needed a reminder and they paid, or like?
Well, some people, I did send reminders and some people did pay, but there's still a bunch of people that didn't pay yet. So, yeah. And they actually happen to be bigger, like the property down at the end of South Street. They have fairly high-level property there, and for whatever reason, they're always late on their taxes. And their taxes are about probably $7,000 a quarter. So that's a big chunk out of that $38,000.
They're always paid, they're just always paid late.
But yeah, no matter, I've been in contact with them and we've had conversations, and so they have to pay the penalty and they have to pay the late interest fee, so. And they eventually pay it. Hopefully that will keep up, but yeah.
And we have we have an income line item in the budget every year for delinquent taxes,
Right,
expecting
exactly.
some amount of collection.
If you wanted to see who's delinquent, I don't know if the list is up yet or not, Heather gets that put up, but you could see how that $38,000 cashes out. It's public information.
Right.
Mhm. So, does that make sense? I mean, this is.
Yeah, I guess
your first year with all this, so.
Yeah, and like, at what point are they, like, can we not assume that they're coming in, I guess? But if it's always the case that it keeps coming in, they're just always late.
Yeah. And that's why you weren't here for the budget meeting, but that's why the select board chooses to keep the budget item for delinquent taxes and interest low.
Yeah.
Because we know that we can't, the money that's gonna come in, we need it for covering what we were short the year before. Not explained very well.
We budget 5,000 for delinquency, and we got, this was April's report, and we've received 32,000. And on that, the interest on the delinquent taxes, we budgeted 2, and we took in 13,000. And the penalties that we budgeted 2 and took in 3. So it supports our income.
Yeah.
But we want it to be that way because the total of all the taxes that we have to hit is $899,000 and change. So with our current taxes and delinquents, we hit 903,000. So we made our budget. So. And I think it'll make even more sense to you when you do go through the budget process. We'll talk through that again.
We, at one time, was up over 150,000 delinquency.
Yeah.
And COVID paid up a lot of that.
Right.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, so we had, $70,000, I think, in delinquent taxes or something like that.
Right.
Some extravagant number that we put to surplus.
Right.
Yeah, because of that.
Which we have a fund for that.
Yeah, and before we had that fund, we had one year where we had a tax sale, and we ended up raising something like $114,000 unexpected dollars, and so the tax rate was reduced the next year. which the year after, when it went back to normal, just killed us. Oh,
Yeah, people didn't
God.
remember or
And we put
understand.
notices in the
Yeah,
tax bill
yeah,
that say, this is
yeah,
artificially low, remember?
yeah, so that's why things are trying to keep stable now. That's why we have the tax stabilization fund to try to keep things on an even keel.
All right, well, I will make a motion to accept the proposed town tax rate of 0.5159 and the proposed highway tax rate of 0.4661.
I'll second.
Any further commentary? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Cool, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll just send this around for you all to sign it for me, so keep that as our official copy. Thank you. And if you ever have questions, just ask, yeah. No, like I said, we're not doing this all the time, and you've not, this is your first couple months with us, so, and the rest of us, yeah, just once a year we do it.
Appreciate it.
Great. Anything else for us?
No, we're good. Oh, yeah, so, yeah, we're good. We're good.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, guys.
Anything in particular from the auditors this evening? One thing I'll put in with the others is that I am working slowly on developing the RFP for town audit. Once I get that ready, I will share it with the treasurer, the auditors, and the library board chair just to get feedback. And once they've had a chance to go through it, I'll bring it to the board and we'll put it on the table. So I'm hoping that that'll happen in the next couple of weeks.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, everybody. Oh, and just one more thing, if people ask you when they're gonna get tax bills, early August, like it is every year. And the rule is they have to, the property owners have to have their tax bills 30 days before the first payment is due. The first payment is due September 15th, so we have until August 15th, but they're gonna be early again.
Great. Thank you. Crystal, do you want to talk about library stuff now, or do you want to hold off and talk about the building?
I can do it now.
All right, come on in.
I'm here. I think I said last time that the bids had been put out and they were due, I think the June 30th was the deadline, but I guess there was a lot of questions about some of the drawings, and so they extended the deadline for bids until, I believe, maybe today, I think. But Peter was in touch with the folks at Naylor and Breen, and they were working on putting together a quote. So they were looking to get some information from us about who would be insured and whose name should fall where. And so we're finalizing those details. And there are pieces of the project that they're not directly responsible for. So hearings like a loop system to help people with hearing aids have access auditorily to what happens in the community space, as well as some AV stuff that we've been getting quotes for separately. So we're looking to get all that information to them so they can have the whole picture to us in their quote rather. So we expect to see at least a preliminary version of that in the next couple of weeks. And then we'll go from there, but that is kind of where it is at right now. The demolition is for the most part done. What we're going to do has been done. And our capital campaign sort of work group is going to meet next week to kind of kick off the planning for that. I think that was it, Herb, unless you remember any other things that were of import.
Not that occurs. I think that's it.
All right. So I think that's it, unless folks have questions.
Do they have an anticipated start date?
We haven't asked them that specifically since we started this more specific bidding process. I don't know. Peter didn't indicate whether they said they were having trouble getting any pieces of the puzzle kind of bid on. But when we met with them in March, they said probably end of August, beginning of September is when they imagined they could fit it into their schedule. But given that they went right to the to getting quotes. Peter felt like maybe their schedule freed up a little bit and they might be able to start sooner. But again, that depends on how much work we have to do to make sure we have the money to build the building we want to build.
All right. Good.
All right,
Okay.
that's it then. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a
Thank
good
you.
evening. All right. Let's go on. Is there anybody else in town officers? I don't think so. Let's go into town highways. Bill, what's happening?
I'll move up to the grown-ups.
Come on in.
Come on up to the big.
Put a folding chair in the corner. Maybe cut this.
There's been quite a bit going on with cleaning up debris from the storms and wash roads and all that stuff. We've been catching up on the grading, putting top coat on the roads. I ended up, we graded Dudley Road Tuesday with the anticipation of rain so that we wouldn't get dust calls, but we ended up having to put calcium down.
Yeah.
So we got that done. I had a service request form from Norton Road. I'll put that in correspondence, but I received that Monday. I came into the office and the person that turned in the service request was concerned about some severe potholes, so we went right up and took care of it. So that's done. I'm sure you've all noticed the rocks up front of the building here. There was a lot of large trucks and stuff running over the end of the new sidewalk. So hopefully that'll be a deterrent.
I made the main decision. I asked Bill and Philip to take care of that. Peter and I were up here the other day, Tuesday morning, maybe Monday morning, Tuesday morning, to flatten out some of the ruts and try to scrape back some of the hay, covering the new lawn where it washed out. And we put the sprinklers out there to water the lawn. And so people had driven on the lawn quite a bit. By the time I got back in the afternoon, before Bill and Philip had a chance to put the rocks there were at least 2 different sets of tracks on the lawn already. So those do not have to be permanent, but at least it's a deterrent for now. And quite frankly, I like it. So
A training aid.
there's some that maybe, I think Patty was in favor of a fence now. Initially, she didn't like a fence, but I like boulders for landscaping. I think it looks great, and I think Bill and Philip are taking care of it, but like I said, it doesn't have to be permanent if the board thinks otherwise. But
Certainly in keeping with the local environment.
yeah, we got plenty of rocks.
We got rocks.
Thank you, Bill.
All right.
And we've got the 1 ton went in to Formula Ford, supposed to have inspection. We had a tire issue. They couldn't do the inspection without it needs some work. It needs a new joint in the front and possibly a front axle. Needs an oil change and there's a wire harness that we had trouble with this past winter that needs to be replaced. So we got it back from them. They couldn't get it in right off. It can't go in. They can't take it until August 4th. So that's how far they are behind. But that's in the scope of work. The tandem is due at the end of this month to go in for its annual service and inspection and all that. So that's coming up. We had a hydraulic leak on the grader. Turned out there was a pinhole in the hydraulic filter. So we got that changed. It's running fine now. And we got I got a notification from the pre-construction scoping for the grants and aid grant that we have for this year. The form's got to be filled out, but in doing so, I was coming across a lot of I went on to my mapping, and there's a lot of discrepancies with the connected segments. I'm seeing a lot of them that for some reason they've been brought up to standard without, when Stephanie was doing it, we were doing the annual review of them, go out and actually visit the sites so that you could see what needed to be done to prevent the problems from happening, so that you could best utilize that money. Well, since they're not doing it anymore, that didn't happen last year or this year. So I went online to see where I thought would be the best utilization of the grant that we have. And that's got to be done by the end of September. And on some of the mapping, I noticed areas that I say we're in compliance, and I know that we're not. One prime area, I mean, there's areas where there's no crown whatsoever and no way to put a crown on the road without doing some work. And they've got it in compliance, and it hasn't been in compliance before. And there are areas we haven't worked on. I think what I've got to get a hold of Christine Emmons tomorrow and see if I can get them out here to actually do an assessment of some of the areas where I want to do this grant work. I think they're just sitting, looking at their aerial views, which are accurate for picking spots, but there's no way they can tell if the ditches are full or if there's proper crown on the road. There's just no way they can do that. And which I can show you on the mapping. I would think if they come out and they really had a good handle on what was going on with these, we'll just throw out there. I would think if somebody actually visited a site, let's just take Burdock Avenue, for example. And if they had actually visited that site, they could tell that St. Anne's Church is not Burdock Avenue.
Last time we checked.
So, but if you look right there, that connected segment has been done, and if you look at Burdock Avenue, you'll see what's on Burdock Avenue from their aerial view. St. Anne's Church. And there's a lot of these segments that are showing in compliance that aren't. There's no way that they are. So we've got to do something there. There's a lot to it, and by letting it go by the wayside for 2 years and not doing actual site visits, we could be going backwards again. Now, some of the areas that haven't met compliance, I've probably brought them up to compliance, and that would take care of them. They would just come out and review and see that the work has actually been done.
And they're probably shorthanded like everybody else, but if that's the case, are they going to extend some of those dates where everything was supposed to be in compliance, or
I think
are they going to have somebody just sit behind the desk?
I think that's what they're doing. I don't think it's a big concern to them now. I don't know why, but it was right along. And just for, I don't know, I see on the agenda that there's, I know we discussed at the last meeting, going into executive session on the highway management. Am I still not going to be allowed in?
You'll be there for part of it at least. I'm not sure how far again we're gonna go, but.
And that's pretty basically to talk about road commissioner.
Partly that and partly also personnel reviews that we have to do this year.
I understand that. The personnel reviews, I did this one.
Oh, good.
That's for Philip. It's on the, that's the only form that I had. So.
Yeah, good. Thank you for that.
But I understand, I wouldn't be in for that, you want to keep that.
Sure. Good.
But I think if you're gonna be discussing, I can point out a lot of things right here in the open meeting that I think I brought it up at the last meeting. Really, if someone's gonna be managing the highway department, they have got to be full-time. They've gotta be there every day. When it comes to spending, and Jenny can probably show you like the amount of things that I catch when I'm doing the bills at the end of the week. I do them weekly rather than wait 2 weeks. And I catch a lot of double charges. We just had one, we deal with weight slips at Casellas. We've got a kiosk over there. If the kiosk screws up and I have to write on the inbound ticket that I didn't get an outbound ticket, that I've got to get one from the office because they'll print it out. Someone that's not there doing that, they're not going to know that. They're not going to be able to code the bills. They're not going to be able to pick up those discrepancies. And it's the same way with everything else. We got charged for a load of screen sand. We didn't get any sand. There's no record. They're looking to see if they can find where that went. But that's like around $400, I think it was the charge, something like that.
300, something like that, yeah.
And it happens a lot. So someone without hands-on day-to-day operations isn't gonna be able to do it. This is just the latest of keeping track of materials and stuff. And that's a very little. And without knowing, without being right there hands-on, that's why I started this process, because I had people trying to get me fired for stealing materials and all that. So, I mean, I just don't think that, I don't understand why I wouldn't be involved in being able to bring some of these things up and actually discuss them. And I think if that's the case, that if you're gonna be going in and talking about the road commissioner's duties and pay and all that, that Carl should recuse himself. Because when it comes down to getting paid for doing a job and you're making the decisions, then that's, to me, that's a conflict.
So it feels to me like I have a friend who used to say this really annoying thing. We need to consider this on a go-forward basis. This is really about the future of how we do this. It's not about the history of how we have done it. And I think it's time for us collectively and seriously to rewrite the position description of the road commissioner. The 2009 description is really clumsy and really not kind of apt for a town with a working foreman. We have a new foreman coming in who's going to have a lot less experience with state agencies, with proposal writing, with writing permits to do work in the right of way. There's going to be a lot of things that we're going to have to support this new person around. And I really think that it's time for us not to sort of patch and fix, but to write a description that we can live with for what the road commissioner needs to be doing. And I expect that you would be part of that conversation as a sort of experienced guy, given that you won't be working with the new road commissioner for more than a month, right? So I think that it's time for us to do the work of being really serious around what we expect that position ought to do.
And I think I agree with that. I think we're trying to get to the same point. I mean, as of right now, I'm getting Philip, bringing him along to deal with my contact people he's gonna deal with, the full-time person's gonna deal with every day. As far as, I want to start with him next week on coding timesheets and stuff like that. It's a hands-on, everyday thing.
Right.
And it's like I gave you the list before on what I thought the road commissioner's duties were that I was doing under road commissioner. Now, this is one. This, as far as I'm concerned, it could be hands-on. That job, that project could be overseen by the road commissioner and all the receipts kept. He would be there to track it. It wouldn't take a lot of his time. But it would be a hands-on and he would know what was happening with that. And the same with writing grants. The only thing you need to do is have the information and go out and do quantities and things like that. And that's what I was doing under the road commissioner's duties. But as far as to oversee the spending, that's out of the picture anyway, because the select board has the overall authority of spending.
Yeah.
But to be able to justify where the money's being spent, I don't see how anyone's gonna do it on a part-time basis. And then when you get into that, somebody accuse somebody of stealing this or stealing that. The only one that's gonna be able to clarify it is the guy doing it every day.
Okay. So I'm going to recommend that we actually hold the discussion of road commissioner duties to the executive session rather than discussing now, because I think it's going to be an elaborate conversation. And we can come out of that with whatever decisions we make, or that we have decided not to make a decision now. So with that off the table now, let's go on. Is there a road commissioner report for this week?
No.
Okay. Is there anything else we need to be considering around highway?
Couple things. I know our mower broke down. What was the status of mowing? I know Route 140 got done, I believe Coy Hill, maybe Orchard Road, Coy Hill got done up to Orchard Road. I think Orchard Road was done. I don't know if we got anywhere else in town.
Norton, Spruce Knob. I didn't think to ask Joe, the part for the mower was supposed to be here today, but we've still got.
So we still got some time available, that's all. I need.
Yeah, Joe he's gonna sell the mower, he's had enough.
Yeah, well, I know you said that.
But the only reason,
Wow.
he had already committed to us, that's the only reason that he hasn't put it out for sale. If he got the part, it's only a matter of about probably an hour putting it back together.
No, I knew we were waiting on a part. Very good. Can we contact, maybe you have the contacts, maybe we can get the state if and when they come here and maybe they do this little stretch, I don't know. But can we talk with the town of Pulteney and see if they pave over there by the corner they just fixed? Can we do something there by Jerry Parker's? That freaking hole is.
We talked about doing that last year.
No, I know.
Actually, we had it on the schedule.
And they never
Tom
showed
never
up.
came. Yeah.
But that is.
Because we were gonna key this in and we're
Right.
gonna do that down there.
I'm not counting on Tom probably. I mean, it's kind of a small thing. Maybe it's Tom or whoever, Wilt, I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's a good idea.
Comes to Pulteney, we're just a mile away or a mile and a half away. Dig that out and widen it a little bit or something. Or else maybe we can dig it out ourselves and pour some concrete in there or something. I don't really like concrete roads. I think if I lost a tire and a wheel there, I'd be making some noise.
And I've told it in a couple of times this year.
Yeah, it just doesn't last.
But I will put some more stuff
Yeah.
in it tomorrow because I don't want to get that.
It just doesn't last. And so I thought maybe we could catch the guys at Pulteney. Or I assume they're gonna get that before winter, I would hope. But actually, it's pretty nice right now.
Well, they're gonna close it again too.
Monday,
Yeah.
Do what, to do the steel plate? and
Yeah.
everything?
Monday,
14th and
Tuesday.
15th, I think.
Oh, really?
Starting this coming Tuesday?
Monday, Tuesday.
Okay.
I think 14th and 15th, the sign
That
said.
won't be too bad.
Yeah, there's a sign there now.
Oh, yeah.
Doug told me this morning that Wilk is doing Pulteney's pavement this year. So,
Wilkes price is $74 a ton. That's all.
Excuse me, Bill, would you consider Philip doing the Road Scholar courses?
Yeah, we had talked about that.
Yeah, I think it'd be very beneficial for him. And also, I thank you personally for helping, guiding Philip through his CDL. And I spoke to Philip, and he feels that he's ready to take his test. And I was supposed to do it today, but I got hung up. But I'll work with Philip tomorrow afternoon for his final test on his inside and outside pre-trip. And he thinks he's all set to go. Again, thank you, Bill.
I told him to go online and pick out some courses, and write down ones that he would be interested in,
Yeah.
and then I can bring it back to the board.
One other thing, Carl knows about it, I haven't been up to look or whatever, but I understand there was somebody that went swimming in the pond on Dudley Road. And I don't know, is that bank, does that need anything for the bank there by the pond? Is that still safe, or is that?
Yeah, no, it's fine. I don't know about that.
Okay.
That's excessive speed.
That pond is right road level too, so.
It happens, stuff happens, right? Good, that's all I had, thank you. Got a couple things later for, Herb's got it on, St. Neighbor.
Yeah, there was something else I had in mind. Some of the overhead,
You had enough of us?
some of the overhead trimming, a lot of old branches and stuff.
Good night.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good night.
All right.
There's a lot of the overhead stuff that needs to be trimmed. I mean, you drive up the roads right now with Dan and slapping the mirrors, windshields.
All right, let's go on to town lands. We were supposed to get some free water in today for the lawn.
I didn't see very much.
That didn't happen.
I was up on Coy Hill and it rained hard for
30 seconds?
20 minutes.
Oh, did it? Right
Went
now?
down to my father-in-law's and he didn't have a drop. So.
Yeah, it poured up at my house for 20 minutes, like heavy, but no.
North, they had warnings out for heavy hail and flash flood.
Yeah.
Orleans,
Yeah, and they did have some, forget where.
all the way down to Granbury Beach.
Some high water rescue people.
Yeah, they've had water rescues out.
Yeah, I'm assuming on Garrett it was probably just enough to mess with the cement truck that was driving up. I don't know what they're doing up there right now, but I think it's the last house on the left that's doing something, but I don't know. Just a lot of trucks going up.
How far up?
The very last house on that left, it's normally a vacation room, but
Ventrose.
I don't know. But
I
yes,
seen
it's been a lot of
Toland's concrete in and out of town, but
Mhm.
I didn't know where they were working.
yeah, it was a lot of trucks going up and down the road the last week.
We already talked briefly about the boulders out front, and I quite like them. I don't know about anybody else. And Herb's got it on the agenda. Peter thought we should send an official letter from the select board thanking Fabian Excavating and Naylor and Marine. They took away the old and reinstalled the new lawn at no charge, and that was probably several $1,000s anyway. 6, 7, 8, maybe even 10 grand. So I think the board should do that. I'm willing to put a little post out on Front Porch Forum just to let the townspeople know that we didn't spend any extra money. Maybe if you want to do it.
That's great.
I think it's a good idea because when we were replacing the rocks, we were getting a lot of
I
comments
imagine
about,
you're getting a lot
how
of.
come there was grass there, how come the town's spending more money?
Right.
We should have got it out sooner, but I'll take care of half of that anyway.
Okay, and I'll write the letter to Neil and Green.
And I think maybe Peter talked to you about it, or we came in and watered that Tuesday morning, and I talked with him yesterday, I think it was. He had a great idea. I didn't think of it, but maybe that could be something we could get Amanda to do. I came up and watered it again this morning.
Oh, good, thank you.
And Peter gave me the hose. I left the hose out back and one out front. If we could, there's just a key that goes into the spigots, and I run them for like 10 minutes and then move them.
Right.
So maybe if we could connect with Amanda and see if she was willing to do that for a while. I probably won't be able to get her, by tomorrow morning. And of course, Saturday she'll be working at the dump, but
All right, I'll get
I could give her, an hour's worth of work or half an hour's worth of work a couple times a week if it as needed.
She's doing a wonderful job at the transfer
She does a
station.
great job at the,
Unbelievable.
and I don't know if she has probably doesn't have a code to get in here, but she could have the keys for.
Right.
Or maybe she'd want to do it when the house is open, I don't know. But anyway, I'll touch base with her on that.
Those boulders that you have out front there, you might want to chain them down. Someone had a boulder on Facebook Marketplace for $2,700.
Wow.
1,200-pound boulder. I'm like,
Wow.
People sell them all.
I'm rich actually. Where I'm
Yeah,
at.
exactly.
Yeah.
I just fell into it. If you know of anybody that wants them for that price, let me know.
Yeah,
They'll be gone.
I'm a millionaire right now.
Seasonal
I'm sitting on
harvest.
it.
I donated all of mine to Maztec. They
Yeah.
dumped them down my metal, I donated them.
But this was a landscaping boulder. They
Still
named
good.
it as. So.
Yeah, that's right.
Driving up your driveway.
Yeah, no, they pay good money.
Sit
for
on an
those.
old line.
Seriously.
All right, we've already gotten our update on the library, so we're good there. Town lands, I think I mentioned this at the last meeting, but I'm not sure, that Tyler Alexander has made a request that he might be interested in us taking the fence down between our property and theirs.
Mm.
And as I've been driving back and forth the last few days, he's got a lot of stuff that's kind of right at the fence line. Seems to me that it makes sense for us to know where the fence line is. So I would opt for keeping it in place.
I think that's where our discussion was last time, even without that extra.
Yeah.
Because of that issue.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that, and I don't know if we said it the last time, but it seems peculiar too. If he said the fence is on my line, so why would he even have to ask us to take it down if it's his fence? So anyway, I would leave it as is.
I think that would be a question for the fence viewer.
Yes.
And here we are.
The old
Here we
saying,
are.
fences make good neighbors.
Fences make, good fences make good
That's it.
neighbors.
All right. Anything else having to do with any of our town lands?
Just a brief, Patty has another old cemetery workday scheduled for this Saturday morning. I think it's 10 to noon. If anyone's interested, I think she's gonna work on the upper side again by Deb Squires. So anyway, that's it.
All right. Any interesting news about solid waste?
There was a whole bunch of things relative to, I don't remember the term, but it's where the manufacturers pay for stuff. It's like recycling the TVs and paint, whatever the term for that. But anyway, there's 2 or 3 changes, but they're all 26 and 27. So by the time that gets here, it might be changed again, so. Anyway.
Is that all related to new material that'll be manufactured
One of
responsibility?
them was we're gonna be able to take rechargeable batteries.
Oh,
Another one was we're gonna be able to take spray cans of paint. And
And held separate, I'm sure, for some other kind of disposal.
yeah, apparently, yeah.
Okay.
Which the spray cans, if you can empty them, then you can recycle them.
Right.
But I think that was the gist of it. Yeah, and other than that, I don't have anything special.
just as an aside, I checked in because we have a bunch of old fire extinguishers around the house, and I've been trying to figure out how to get rid of them.
Right.
And the fire company in Middlebury has volunteered to take for free relatively current expired extinguishers, as in sort of since 2005 or so. Anything that's older than that truly is hazardous. If you open one of those up and spray it around out in the woods and discharge it, it'll kill everybody in a 5-mile radius. They're really awful. And nobody has a great plan on how to take care of antique fire extinguishers.
They do not, because Herb and I both spent time on that last summer trying to find out, what do we do with these things? You know, because it's a good metal container.
Right.
And you try to get them recharged or whatever, and it's cheaper to buy a new one.
Right.
So I think I shot like a dozen of them or so.
Yeah, I've got 6 in the backyard and undercover, and
I'd say if your house sets on fire, you're not really particular if it's expired or
yeah,
not.
I mean, the meter all still looks good.
Yeah, so.
I don't know what's in there anymore, but
Pam was slack last year, said, well, you know, empty them, you can use them, and then you can
Right.
recycle the metal. Well, yeah, I know that.
just
These
discharge them.
These are
inwards.
old ones,
Yeah.
and they're so old, you can't discharge them anyway. You'd have to drill a hole into them to empty them, or
That probably wouldn't be safe.
That'd be
probably not a good idea.
Yeah.
I guess you could
Yeah,
use
I'll
them for
bring them
fire
over to you, and you can drill all the holes. I don't need to be present.
They still got them. That was supposed to take effect, I thought, July 1. But it was gonna take a while to get it. So I don't know the real status, but I thought that was taking effect July 1 of this year. Might have got pushed back.
Housewarming gifts. That's how you get rid of them. Hey.
I forgot to
All right.
add correspondence.
All right.
Let's see.
Might be able to trade them to that person on Facebook Marketplace for some boulders.
There you go.
Some bartering.
What's the exchange rate right now for antique fire extinguishers and boulders? I'm sure if you had the right kind of housing, you could put a hole in the bottom and it would just eject like a bazooka.
I had a spray paint can one time, and I cleaned the nozzle, put it back. It wasn't. I was like, I guess it's just juice. And then so I was like, all right, let me pop a hole to get rid of that. It was just spray. Yeah, I guess it was.
Oh, that is.
I had a girlfriend like that once.
We have a.
I don't even want to follow the rest of that. I don't understand what that means, and I don't need to know.
We have a thank you from ARC Rutland area, thanking us for their sincere appreciation to the people and municipal officers down in Middletown Springs for the payment of the town's appropriation. We are fortunate and grateful to be able to serve Middletown Springs to save the community. So anyway, it's a thank you note. It doesn't specifically ask to be put on the ballot again for next year. So I'm not sure about that. Oh, here's our internal financial controls checklist that we need to review and sign off and correct if necessary. August is Overdose Awareness Month. 200 people die every day from overdose. A little postcard. Oh, I already got that one in here. We've got a service request from Norton Road that there's a bunch of potholes, and Bill has already taken care of it, so we just need to sign off. And if that's already done, and the customer is aware of it. This one should have gone to. We got a letter from Habitat for Humanity. We've got a grant basics propaganda from VLCT. Another thing from VLCT, ordinance adoption and enforcement, and we probably all see these emails also. And a whole bunch of overweight permits. National Energy Control Services, whoever that is, Jasper, Indiana. With their insurance card, $10 checks. I guess there's only 2 of them.
Okay. Just imagine how many $10 checks all these trucking companies have to write all over the country. You'd pay a full-time person just to track your permits.
Yeah, I'm sure they do have a full-time person for that.
So this is interesting. We have 2, both from National Mutual.
Both from the same.
Guess you're not paying that person enough to track yours.
Yeah. They are 2 different certificate holders. One is NECS Solutions, which is this. But the other one is licensed to Beacon Roofing Supply in Herndon, Virginia.
Roofing supply? Habitat for Humanity is a thank you letter. Rutland County, ever our amount of $350. And that doesn't ask for next year either, as far as I can tell. If anybody wants to see these letters.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the 2 overweight permits for the 2 different subsidiaries of National Energy Control Services.
Second.
National Energy Control Services, is that what it is?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, good. Any other correspondence for us? I think that's it.
No, that's,
All right.
we've got the service request and a couple of propagandas.
Okay.
And that's it.
All right, let's pay some bills.
Pay some bills, there you go. There you go.
Terry, here's your 2 permits back.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you.
What is the note on here about new backhoe? Someone took fuel cap?
Yeah,
Is that what is a bill for a fuel cap? $111?
Jeez, I got one.
Forget about those boulders. I'm going around getting fuel caps. This is
I bought a new gas.
not
cap.
this one that screws on like your car.
yeah.
Well, I bought a new plastic gas cap for my lawn tractor last year, and that was
Does it have a
32 or 34 bucks.
really?
This has got a lever which seals the
Okay.
other pipe and probably cost them $10 to make it.
But catalytic converters are where it's at, but that's probably easier.
Quicker and easier. Put it on the ground.
Had somebody steal the copper fuel line off Noah's car a number of years ago.
gonna start turning in Bud Light cans, cause somebody thinks that the end of my driveway is a good place to dispose of.
Used to be a lot of them going around Coy Hill, I don't know who drinks Bud Light.
I do.
You got a cooler installed in the front of the truck?
Saw him from Casella's day before yesterday, I come over through water, all that poison parsnip on the edge of the road. There's a guy out there barehanded, clippers. I
No.
stopped. Told him, I said, do you realize what you're doing? Had no idea.
Really?
Where was this at?
Along the 133 over Monterey, there's a lot of it.
Yeah, there's yeah.
It's a bad
So
year.
I told him, I said, I would suggest, I said, you can tell me mind my own business, but I've been through it. I said, I got scars from 15, 20 years ago when I didn't know what it was.
Right.
And I said, I would suggest you go in and wash up with soap and water and keep your skin out of the sun for a few
Stay
days.
long
indoors until
sleeves.
tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, I told the new people that had moved into Stevens right at the start of the road there about parsnip, and he didn't know about it. And I was like, yeah, I was pulling everything in this field before, but you guys are younger than me, so just be careful. Do it on a cloudy day. Wear some gloves up to you, a little bit up, and you'll be all right.
I saw a person picking it on the side of the road and thought it was Queen Anne lace.
Yeah, no, it's really pretty. I can totally imagine somebody, collecting some of that for,
Although
who cares?
if they think that's Queen Anne's lace, then that's a problem considering poison hemlock looks like Queen Anne's lace. So if they can't tell the difference there, they should not be picking Queen Anne's lace because the whole thing, it's what the Queen has hairy legs. That's the.
I used to pull a lot of that stuff walking around Buxton Ave with bare hands. You can pull it, you don't try not to get the oil on it. Obviously, but
Right, as long as you don't.
pull it straight up, it usually will come, but.
No, and I mean, the roots are edible right away, like raw or, parsnip. You can mash it up.
You can.
I took a bite of a raw root one time, just I was like, hey.
Is that plant related to Jerusalem artichokes?
It's probably in the same family. I mean, so the settlers brought it over, and then it escaped their gardens. It escaped their gardens, and then it just kind of ramp it from there. So I mean, I feel like we really got to put a good cookbook out, and then people will start getting rid of it.
Jack and the pulpit roots are edible too. But they burn like crazy from what I understand.
No, I just pulled a lot of goldenrod, which I would normally leave it because it's not invasive technically, but it's aggressive.
Great year for that too this year.
Yeah, really. And I looked out my yard. I was like, I'm just seeing goldenrod, and I had a bunch of other stuff that I was like kind of letting grow wild. So I was pulling stuff around ferns and saplings and stuff to give them a shot because.
My wife uses that to dye wool.
Keep your eye open.
Goldenrod.
As soon as they're
Yeah.
ready, help yourself to peaches.
Yeah, the problem with the roots put out that the chemicals that keep other stuff from growing. I mean, if you got a good patch of it, you look on the ground, there's nothing there except the goldenrod. Although I think jewelweed might handle that all right. Like jewelweed might compete with goldenrod, and that's a good one because if you get stinging nettle or something, rub jewelweed on that. It helps.
I have a friend who allergic to poison parsnip, and his physician told him to rub witch hazel on it.
Yeah, it dries it out.
I don't know if it worked or not.
Yeah, I mean, I felt a little. I mean, I left a lot of goldenrod because I mean it's really good for pollinators, and but if it starts growing up in the woods more, I'll let it go because then maybe I won't have to pull so much garlic mustard next year.
I got into the poison
Poison
person before anybody really was around here.
Right.
Bobby and I were weed whacking guardrails on Friday, and we took a long weekend and went to northern Maine, where I used to live. Woke up Saturday morning.
Boils.
Just blistered,
Yeah.
face, and everything. We thought some old hag had slept in the we got But it's scarred, I mean, it left
Yeah.
scars. too.
Yeah, there was this guy that when I was in Paulet still, Jody had for my birthday like paid for him to come over and like show all like the wild edibles and stuff that were going around. And he used to run a survival camp or something for kids at one point. And he was saying, he was like, yeah, there's this one kid that didn't want to do stuff, and he thought he'd get out of it by going into the parsnip and, you know, getting a like allergic reaction, but he really went into it, and then it's like 2nd degree chemical burns.
Yeah, it goes right to the meat.
Yep.
It'll scar you also.
Yeah, they get, I mean, the blisters get really big and hold a lot of fluid.
Yeah. Well, I had years back, I was driving home and there was a tree almost across the road. This is when I was still in New Jersey, but it was like a stormy, like really humid night. And I was like, oh, somebody comes around that other corner, they're gonna hit it. I could go around. I'm like, all right, let me just pull. And I'm pulling in the dark, and I guess I had a vine. And it just snapped. I was like, and I just moved out of the way because I never had allergic reactions to poison ivy or whatever. And I went home and I just kind of did a real quick rinse, and then I used the bathroom. The next day I woke up and like, yeah, I went to the doctor and my arm was all blistered. He's like, oh, that's really bad. I'm like, yeah, it was a vine. And he's like, it's like, oh, you have it anywhere else? I'm like, yep. It's like, you want me to take a look? I'm like, nope. He's like, oh. He's like, well, I can give you this steroid. It'll knock out your immune system for like a month. You can't get sick. I'm like, yep, let's do that. Let's do that. Oh, sorry, yeah.
Nasty stuff.
A couple of years ago, somebody said that they had spotted a hogweed in town as well, which is also.
That's a really bad one, yeah.
Can you pass that in there, Carl?
Well, and I'm seeing, I mean, it's not noxious, it's just, invasive with the knotweed. I mean, I know we have it where we have the big dump day, but I
Anybody
think
want any of these?
I was seeing some on South Street and stuff a little bit, some little spots of it.
I've got my little collection of it out back.
Yeah, that's a real big problem though.
And in the brush pile, so I can't even mow it down.
Yeah, I can't even just giving up on stuff where, although I don't have, there's no parsnip anywhere up the road. It's just right at the bottom because I worked for a few years pulling it. So hopefully Cade gets to his field, but I don't know.
You know, that's the trouble with roadside mowing. Track that stuff. Right now you get it, it's fine, but once it goes to seed,
Yep.
then you track it with that, spread it all over.
It dries up pretty late, but
Yeah, with how much of that parsnip we have, you'd think there'd be some kind of public notice from the state or something about that.
They did for a while.
Did they?
It just got so widespread through the state.
Oh, I just mean that so people know that they're not,
Yeah.
picking it because it's some nice flowers or whatever.
you learn it once.
Someone.
Although to Bill's point, like, if you mess with it on a cloudy day or something, then you don't know that it's like 2 days later if you're out in the sun, you're like, why am I getting blistered? You might not check the dots.
We got a couple more signatures.
We got, oh, these are.
You got to go back.
That's, yeah, I believe.
One way to mass produce it.
This type here, I think was the one that was, number $1,300.
This is the one that everybody recommends.
But it doesn't say, reduce speed or, I don't think this one actually tells you your speed, but it doesn't tell you to slow down.
Yeah, I think one of these years I'm really gonna get through the parks and like you gotta get the younger plants because otherwise the other stuff gets too
I'll contact
like what's it like the roots really get too tough. So but the thing is, if I'm pulling, I'm not like setting stuff aside and just piling it all. So, but one of these days I'll try to harvest. Wanted to do that with chicory too, but I haven't really seen chicory in much this year. In the past, like those blue purple flowers, because that was like a coffee substitute way in the past. I don't think it's got caffeine to it though, but just that kind of taste to it.
2 years ago, I think there was mint growing wild all over town, a lot of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, mint takes over.
Yeah, now when we first moved in, we had a patch of mint the size of the laptop,
Mhm.
and it's probably 10 feet square.
Yeah, good. Goes quick. Yeah, we've got a couple of different types of mint at our house. I mean, again, better than garlic mustard or something like
We've
that.
got probably 6 different varieties of cabbage there. Like a chocolate mint,
Yeah.
orange mint.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like a lime something or other, and yeah.
When I'm out weed whacking, I'll pick a leaf and chew on it.
Yeah.
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 You mow it at the edge of the lawn, it just smells wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, you can tell what mint is if you roll the stem in your fingers. It's a square stem, so it kind of almost like clicks if you're rolling it. I think there's only like one thing that you can kind of confuse for mint, but it doesn't taste like mint, so that's not really a problem. I think it's like false pennyroyal or whatever it is.
So we're talking about rolling one?
You're just coming at them today with things. Just got the comments today.
Hallelujah.
It's like the old guy told his wife, he said, boy, he said, my joints are stiff today. She said, you're rolling them too tight.
Mm-hmm. Was that yours? Yeah, I think so. What was the name of that other compliance document, Herb? Or is it back in here?
The financial something or
Oh,
other.
the financial controls
Or something?
list, yeah. The financial controls list, we have to verify every year that we do all those practices.
Did you look at that? That's what we're talking
It's very funny, Jenny filled that out, and she's like, yes, we do this, no, we don't do that, and then it's moved on the list, and one of the categories is, do select board members do financial planning? And she checked the box that said, don't know, and then in the comments said, don't. It's like, where? Okay. Yeah, it's doubtful. That's us.
There is one line item that's not filled out on that, I did notice, so. No,
Oh,
Sean's
are you a participant in any business which does business with the town? That one wasn't marked one way, any which way. I think she just missed it because she could have put don't know, right?
Everybody seen everything?
All right, everything there is to do.
Very good. All right. I'll make a motion to approve the board orders as they have been presented.
I'll second.
Further commentary?
One question on the end of the year numbers.
Yeah.
For line items that were over expended, as in the assistant town clerk,
Yeah.
it has funding from another source to pay for it.
Yeah, and I don't know what the other source was. I don't know if it's from last year's.
Missing something left or right.
So I don't,
For the assistant
Yeah.
town clerk, some of that
Caught up
might
to
be
how many
from, historical
Land use
records,
records,
land
yeah.
records, whatever some of it might be, because that's a lot of what, or mostly what Elizabeth does.
because I think it was 6,000 budgeted and 10,000 something spent,
Right.
and it's showing a negative in that amount there, and it came from someplace else.
Right.
But we had a surplus on the town side. So I didn't,
I think that's where it comes from, but I could be wrong. Wouldn't be the first time.
on her, there's some note on that financial sheet there from, it didn't make sense to me on where it came from.
I hear you, Terry, I did it once.
Don't.
Only once that I'm aware.
There's that one that's missed, or I put a line on the left side.
All right, so we have a motion and a second on the table. All those in favor?
Aye. So the one question here was, has any town money or town property been stolen? We just lost a gas cap. Is that not marked yes?
All right.
Not over the gas cap yet.
Any legal stuff going on? I don't think so. I had hoped that I would have both job descriptions and ads for the two positions, but my deadline is very dense for tomorrow, so I have not worked on it all in the last couple of weeks, but I will bring those to the next meeting, the 24th, so that you can review those. So with that, and
I have one
Go
brief
ahead.
thing, just one brief thing. Probably everybody saw the email back from Dave Fox on the sheriff contract,
yeah,
questioning, or, I don't know,
right.
really questioning, but anyway, just saying he'd have to adjust his hours down to, potentially adjust the hours down to 8 per week instead of 10 per week, based on we only approved up to 25 grand.
Right.
Just so everybody's aware of that, unless we wanted to
Right.
say, go ahead and overspend. That's all.
Yeah. No, and he had said in that message that did he say that he had hired or he was
He had, I think, 5 or 6 new hires, and just the other day, I forget what day it was, I think it was Tuesday after we watered the lawn. Sheriff was here in town and he stopped somebody right down by Montbert Ave.
Okay.
He had somebody pulled over and there were 2 of them in there, so I wondered if one of them was a trainee.
Training day.
That got out to, see what was going on. I think he said he was hiring 5 or 6 new
Yeah.
people.
There was one thing I forgot too, we already continue to add gravel as we're grading, scraping potholes and stuff too.
I hope the heck so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So I would move to enter executive session to talk about highway personnel issues and also to conduct personnel reviews for the prior year, inviting Bill Reed to stay with us for the first half. Robert?
See you later.
All right, Rob.
Thank you, John. Good night.
Good night.
Do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
Thank you very much. All those in favor?
Aye.
Give me 30 seconds to turn this recording off.
850 or thereabouts?
I got 850, yes. Oh, no, I'm in a meeting. Where is it? I'll just do it from over here.